Do you love traveling or would you like to actually travel a lot but you are worried na baka mabutas ang bulsa mo dahil sa gastos ng iyong biyahe? In this vlog, I'm going to be talking about how you can travel on a budget. So stay tuned because I'm going to be talking about that next. Welcome back mga ka-BJ, and here is a new vlog today. We're going to be talking about traveling on a budget. For those of you who are visiting my vlog for the first time, stick around to the very end of this vlog. I hope you learn something and you like it, and later on click that subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't traveled yet, meaning ever hindi ka pa nakakapagbiyahe, ay nako, what are you waiting for? Sabi nga namin sa UP, kung hindi ngayon, kailan pa? So now, one of the challenges of traveling is obviously ang budget. Okay? So maraming nagkakaroon ng worries or concerns about yung mga gagastusin nila sa pagbibiyahe. So I'm here to tell you, okay, having traveled several times myself in the past, na it's possible to actually travel without breaking the bank, okay? Or yung hindi mabubutas ang iyong bulsa, okay? However, meron akong caveat, no? Disclaimer. If you want your vacation, your travel to be fast, convenient, and very comfortable and affording you certain levels of luxury, it's not going to be cheap. Okay? So, yun yung base na kailangan nating tandaan at ano yung kailangan ninyong i-accept. No? Hindi mo makukuha ang mga bagay na yun ng mura. Okay? It will come at the premium. Okay? So, aside from that, pwede na nating pag-usapan kung ano ba yung mga pwedeng hacks or what you can actually do in order to have a vacation or travel that is not going to be very expensive. So before I forget, you have to decide also now at this point, okay, na ikaw ba ay magbabiyahe solo or are you traveling with a companion or companions? Kasi that will spell a lot of difference in terms of yung gagastusin. Kasi generally, medyo magastos magbiyahe alone, especially if you're going to be living in an accommodation na mag-isa ka lang. Okay? Tapos syempre may mga tours, okay? Or may mga activities in your selected destination that will actually require minimum number of heads. Okay? So mas generally nakakamura kapag meron kang kasama kasi you are actually able to split the cost or the bill. Okay? But don't worry if you're just traveling alone. Meron pa rin namang mga hacks for that. Tip number 1, choose your destination carefully and wisely. Why do I say that? Kasi there are destinations that are generally more expensive than the rest. Okay? So, hindi lang yan may kinalaman sa distance, although that plays a role. Okay? So, for example, dito sa Philippines, syempre kung pupunta ka ng El Nido, mas mahal yon kumpara sa you're gonna go to 𝗟𝗟𝗜𝗖𝗥𝗜𝗕. Gawin natin apples to apples. So, kunwari, you wanna go to Palawan, okay, Puerto Princesa is so much cheaper than El Nido, okay, in general. Okay, tapos, if you wanna go out of the country, obviously, mas mahal ang US, ang Latin America, ang Europe versus if you were just to go to a Southeast Asian country. So, piliin niyo mabuti kung saan kayo pupunta, okay? Tapos tingnan niyo rin ano ba yung mga cost of living, yung currency, magkano yung gagastusin mo in general doon sa isang destination that you're gonna go to, especially if you're going abroad. Tip number 2, connected siya dun sa number 1 in terms of destination, kailangan mag-plan ka din in advance, okay? Way ahead of time, okay? Tsaka dapat, as much as possible, off-peak ang season na pupuntahan mo doon sa lugar na yon. Okay, let's start with the first one. Okay, planning in advance. So in general, ang mga airfare, even accommodations, and yung mga tours, mas mura yan kapag binayaran mo siya way ahead of time. There are exceptions to the rule. Minsan meron mga last-minute deals. Okay, pero yun nga, these are just exceptions rather than the rule or the norm. O, doon tayo sa kalahati nung aking tip number 2. Okay, go to an off-peak season. Ano yung ibig sabihin nun? When we say off-peak, ito yung hindi sa tourist season. Mag-research ka dun sa destination na pupuntahan mo. Kailangan, ito yung mga times na not a lot of tourists go there. So, considerations there would be, siguro dapat wala siyang festival na nangyayari on that particular time. So, unless yung festival talaga yung gusto mong puntahan. Like, for example, ako, I went to Tokyo last 2019 to go to the Sakura Festival. O, so talagang ang dami-daming tao nun. Okay, kasi nga, yun yung pinupuntahan ng tao. Okay, so choose a season, okay, or a time na wala masyadong turista kasi walang festival. Or ano pang isang consideration, maaaring yung weather. Okay? So, halimbawa, Dubai. Puntahan mo siya ng mga July, August. Ayan, yung mga tipong parang binibake sa oven. Wala masyadong nagpupunta sa mga Middle Eastern countries kapag kasagsagan ng summer kasi nga sobrang init. So, yun. So, you have to weigh yun nga, sabi ko kanina, yung comfort versus yung savings na makukuha mo doon sa pagpunta nun dahil siya nga ay tourist off-peak season. So now, if you're already about to book your flights, okay, I suggest gumamit ka ng any of the following apps. There is 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, there's Skyscanner, there's Traveloka, and there's Kayak, to name a few. Kasi meron sila dong mga deals, okay, with airlines that are actually a little bit cheaper, tas pwede silang mag-combine ng mga connecting flights. Now, speaking of connecting flights, be very mindful of the total travel time from yung departure mo to arrival. Kasi minsan, yun nga, sabi ko in the opening of this vlog, minsan hindi siya magiging fast if it's going to be cheap. So, it may entail long layover in an airport. Okay, so like nung nagpunta ako sa Cambodia, meron akong 9 hours na layover sa Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Okay, so if you don't like yung ganong scenario, okay, you might want to skip that. Okay, tapos meron ding fine print minsan doon sa inter-flights na ang tawag doon, self-check-in or transfer. What does that mean? So, pag dumating ka doon sa first airport mo of arrival, you'll have to actually remove your luggage. Tapos lalabas ka sa Immigrations and Customs, tapos papasok ka na naman ulit in order for you to check it in. Sometimes medyo hassle yun. No? So, if you want a chance that, okay lang din, okay, but make sure that you have ample time in your layover. Tapos kung ang may mga requirements for visa, okay, visa entry, kailangan i-take into consideration mo rin yun. Okay? And then siguro I want to add, when you're booking, you might want to book a flight na midweek kasi generally mas mura flying between Tuesday and Thursday rather than flying on a weekend. So now that the booking for your airfare is out of the way, let's go to tip number 4. Ano to? Ito na yung accommodation mo dun sa pupuntahan mo. Okay, so there are also apps that I use to book my accommodations. I actually use Agoda and sometimes Booking.com. Okay, and pwede din kayo actually gumamit ng Airbnb if you want it to be a little bit more different, no, than the hotel experience. Okay, tapos meron din tayong tinatawag na couch surfing. Okay, ito yung nakikitira ka ng libre sa mga tao, no, regardless of the destination, na fellow couch surfer mo. Okay? And I also wanna add doon sa iyong destination, okay, meron din tayong tinatawag na the couple mix accommodation. Ano yun? Ito yung kung meron kang kakilala, relative, kaibigan, colleague na nakatira doon sa destination mo na yun. Okay, if they don't mind having you as a guest, okay, or kung meron naman kayong emotional bank account na maganda and your relationship is actually great, then, you know, you might wanna actually stay with them for a couple of days. Pero syempre, magdala ka naman ng something for them, no? Like a pasalubong, or they can ask you na may pabit-bit sila sa'yo from the Philippines or from where you're coming from. Bakit mo kailangan minsan kapalan yung mukha mo na makitulog ka sa mga friends and relatives? Kasi nga, yun yung medyo malaki ang gagastusin mo kasi hindi mura generally ang mga accommodations in your port points of destination. Okay, now I have a tip for when you're booking accommodation. Ako kasi ang philosophy ko, unless mag-staycation ako doon sa destination ko, hindi ako kumukuha ng super expensive hotel. Bakit? Kasi ang logic niyan, wala naman ako sa hotel the entire day. I will be doing my touristy thing. Kailangan ko lang yung hotel bilang tulugan, liguan, saka taguan ng mga gamit ko. Okay, so I don't mind getting a cheaper hotel, okay, or accommodation as long as it's safe, and pinaka-importante sa akin, it is very accessible, malapit sa mga public transport or yung madaling hanapin sa map. Okay, also I want to add, you might also want to consider itong mga sobrang mura pero hindi naman tsaka or kadire na mga accommodations. You can try yung mga hostels, homestay, merong dorm type accommodation, shared accommodation, meron din tayong tinatawag na capsule hotels. So dapat hindi kayo masyadong iffy about sharing your common space, at least, no, with other people. O tip number 5, ito pa, na syempre bago ka pumunta doon, nagpaplano ka na ng ano yung mga activities mo. Okay, so in planning for most of your activities, especially if you're not gonna DIY them, okay, gamitin ninyo ang app na Klook. Actually, pwede nyo gamitin itong aking referral code, okay, para magkaroon kayo ng additional 10 to 30% discount. So ngayon, dito sa Klook, marami kayong pwedeng kunin or bilhin na mga services and other thingamajigs, no? So you can buy actually an international SIM card or an eSIM. okay, that you can install in your eSIM-capable mobile phones. Pwede rin kayong kumuha ng transportation, pwede rin kayong mag-book actually ng mga activities or tours na may option to be private tour or to be a joiner. Okay, napansin ko in several years of using Klook app that the offers that are posted there are generally cheaper than if you were to go direct to the supplier or to the merchant offering yung gusto mong bilhin sa Klook. Tip number 6, when you have to travel within the city or the country, tapos tatawid ka kunwari to another town or to another country for that matter, or another province within the city, I suggest you actually try traveling overnight. Meron tayong tinatawag na mga sleeper bus. Ako, when I went to Cambodia, I tried this hotel bus. So it's essentially a double-decker na kama, okay, na nandun sa bus instead of reclining chairs lang. Tapos when we went to Chiang Mai, nag-overnight din kami using itong mga deluxe na sleeper buses wherein you can recline your backrest to mga almost, hindi naman 90 degrees, okay? Pero hindi naman 180 degrees, I mean, but very close. And it's quite comfortable as well. Okay, bakit ko sinasuggest yun? Kasi makakatipid kayo ng isang gabi sa hotel na pagtutulugan ninyo. Okay, and at a fraction of a cost kasi mas mura generally ang mga bus versus mag-check-in ka sa hotel. Okay, and then, ano pa, when you're also in that, kunwari in another country, I suggest kung meron silang mga public transportation such as a city bus, or even provincial bus, tsaka yung mga tren nila, yung mga subway, gamitin ninyo yun, no? So, that being said, I also suggest for you to buy, kunwari a subway or a train pass na magagamit mo siya. Usually, only rides yun, no? Tapos, mag-research ka na kung saan ang mga stations, how to get there, tapos ano yung mga requirements or restrictions. Ano pa, na-notice ko rin na generally mas mura ang Uber or Grab or any TMV. Tsaka kung okay ka rin na makipag-carpooling, those are also relatively cheaper than if you were to drive your own car, okay, or to hire, okay, a private service. Number 7, okay, when you reach your destination, download an offline Google Maps. Okay, kasi even if you already have an international SIM na magagamit mo dun sa country na yon, or local na kahit meron kang data, minsan choppy, okay, choppy ang iyong connection. So minsan hindi ka makakonect. Okay, so at least if you already have an offline map, madali mo siyang makuha. Okay, and that being said, tingnan mo ang iyong mga destinations, i-plot mo na siya kung ano yung uunahin mo, and then what's next, and so on and so forth. Tapos, dun sa mga less than 2 kilometers ang distance from point A to point B, I suggest lakarin mo na lang. Or siguro another suggestion is if you can rent a bike. Okay, so nakatipid ka na sa pamasahe, naging healthy ka pa. Okay, so also that being said, I would recommend that you wear comfortable shoes. Kasi dati nung nagpunta ako sa Japan, meron ako nakita naka-clogs. Okay, tsaka yung isa naman naka-pumps talaga siya. So mahirap maglakad if you do not feel comfortable in your footwear. O tip number 8, I would actually suggest that you DIY your own lakawatsa. Okay, your own gala, activities, tour, etc. Okay, marami namang travel na, gumawa na nung gusto mong gawin in that destination, and there is an abundance of tips and stories, okay, and vlogs about that in the internet. Okay, so tingnan mo lang, tapos hopefully you'll get a tip or technique or two para pwede mo siyang i-incorporate dun sa iyong DIY na gala or na tour. Okay, now meron naman, however, if you want to actually join a group tour, pwede din yon without actually burning a hole in your pocket. So tanungin mo ang iyong hotel accommodation or check nga yung kunwari Klook. Okay, merong option doon that you can actually be a joiner in the tour, and those are generally cheaper versus yung nanguha ka ng private tour mo. Okay, and also, I would like to recommend na mag-research ka din since nagtitingin ka na for your DIY. Tingnan mo yung mga activities that actually do not require any fees or like an entrance fee. Kasi marami naman yun, no? Halimbawa, like when I went to New York, wala namang bayad to go to the Brooklyn Bridge, di ba? Or kunwari, you want to walk in a certain park. Okay, may mga park in general not libre. Okay, because these are public parks, public beaches. Okay, so yung mga yun, definitely makakabawas na yun sa gastos mo. So you might want to include that in your DIY itinerary. Number 9, ito yung pinaka-favorite ko sa lahat. This is about eating. So, eat where the locals actually eat. Okay, so ano itong mga to? Meron silang mga parang karinderya version nila, no? So, I would suggest na sana hindi ka iffy or hindi ka choosy, picky sa mga kinakain mo. Pinakamurang kainan actually ay mga markets. Okay, like in Thailand, no, sa Chatuchak, ang sarap kumain dun sa kanilang Sunday, weekend market. Tapos also yung mga street food. Okay, so like in Japan, okay, mga street food nila ang mura, okay, and there's an abundance of street food na malinis naman, no? Feeling ko naman hindi naman siya kadire, no? Well, of course, there are some countries na parang mukhang hindi hygienic. So tingnan mo din, syempre mag-observe kayo, wala bang langaw, magots, etc. yung ganyan, no? Okay? Tapos kung yung chan mo masisirain, well, baka hindi mo siya dapat i-explore. Okay, tapos yun yung may kinalaman sa dining out. So ngayon naman, siguro para din hindi masyadong magastos, baka dapat wag kang everyday kumakain sa labas. So I would recommend kung marunong kang magluto, okay? Tapos yung tinitirhan mo kunwari Airbnb or a hostel, meron naman siyang provision for a kitchen. Okay, pwede kang magluto ng sarili mong pagkain from time to time para din makatipid ka kasi mas mura yung bumili ka ng kunwari some vegetables here and there tapos niluto mo siya for you. Okay, and then siguro i-add ko na din connected dun sa isa kong tip about your accommodation. You might want to think about kung gusto mo bang included sa iyong hotel ang breakfast. Kasi, well, tingnan mo kung maganda yung breakfast nila, siguro include ka ng one day, ganyan, no? Pero kung hindi masyado, it will give you more freedom to actually explore outside. Tsaka, yun nga, kung hindi ka morning person, pwede kang mag-sleep in hanggang mga late na kahit tapos na yung breakfast. O number 10, ako hindi yata ito nasabi at the very beginning, pinaka-importante, no? Connected dun sa sinabi kong fear ng mga magbabiyahe, ang budget. Okay? So, it goes without saying, no matter where you're planning to go, local or international, alone or with companions, kailangan meron kang planadong budget. Okay, mag-set ka ng budget. It has to be realistic that will include yung mga gastusin mo from the airfare down to the mga incidentals. Okay, so dapat anin mo siya, gawin mo din siyang realistic tapos meron kang buffer. Okay, so that being said, kung meron kang budget, when you're already in your area or country or local of destination, you need to stick to your budget. Kung kinakailangan magkaroon ka ng extra gastos, dun ka lang sa binudget mo na buffer. Kasi mahirap yung mabuong ka sa utang dahil lang nagbakasyon ka. Okay? It is not a wise financial decision. Okay? Hindi pwede yung YOLO-YOLO ka tapos ang ending nagbabayad ka at bound ka sa utang. And last but not least, ito, I'm saving the best for last. Parang feeling ko exclusive to the Filipinos. Okay? Pasalubong should not be expensive or it does not need to be expensive. Okay? So tayong mga Pilipino, naging parte na yun ng kultura natin, yung pasalubong. Na actually, I had a vlog about that asking kung toxic culture ba yung pasalubong. So you might wanna watch that vlog here after this vlog. Okay, so ngayon, ang pagbili ng pasalubong, okay, syempre mga considerations mo, dapat hindi yan super bulky kasi paano yun, i-hand carry mo ba yan or hindi siya dapat breakable. Okay, kasi iisipin mo pa yan, paproblemahin mo pa yun. I suggest, para hindi masyadong malaki ang gagastusin mo for pasalubong, okay, go to markets. Okay, go to mga bazaars, Tiangge. Okay, huwag kang bumili ng pasalubong sa airport kasi obviously mas mahal sa airport ang presyo. Whereas kapag binili mo yon sa palengke, sa mga market, sa mga bazaars, okay, definitely mas mura yon and you can actually haggle the price. Okay, tapos yun nga, no? So mayroong mga for $1 na makakabili ka ng ganitong item. Okay, tapos ako siguro suggestion ko rin, siguro food, no? Bumili ka ng food na hindi bulky, hindi expensive, okay, pero masarap. Okay, tsaka at the end of the day, lagi ko namang sinasabi, it's always the thought that counts. Yung naalala mo sila during your travel. And hopefully, okay, they will be able to appreciate that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are my 11 very practical tips in order for you to be able to travel without breaking the bank or putting a hole in your pockets. Okay, so I hope you learned a thing or two from these tips and sana excited na kayo sa inyong pagbabiyahe. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to actually click the subscribe button, okay, and the bell so that you will have notifications when I have new material uploaded. So from here in Orion, Bataan, I hope that you are all safe, healthy, vaccinated, boosted, okay, happy, loved, and gearing up for your next travel. I will see you guys in my next vlog. This is 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. If you like this video, please click like, share it on your social media, and if you haven't yet, click subscribe and that bell.